and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is also fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, it took over 5 years for Uhuru Kenyatta to lose popularity amongst the Kikuyu nation. But shockingly, it's hardly 1 year, but William Ruto has lost popularity amongst the Kikuyu nation. Yesterday, there was some event in Ruiru. That event was attended by William Kabogo, the former Kiambu governor, Ferdinand Waititu, the former Kiambu governor, the cabinet secretary, Moses Kuria, amongst others. It took the intervention of William Kabogo to plead with the people who attended that event not to heckle Moses Kuria. And speaker after speaker castigated the Kenya Kwanza government. In fact, William Kabogo was very clear that the Kiambu people should never allow anybody who is supportive of Kenya Kwanza government to address them. Ferdinand Waititu promised to teach William Ruto political lessons. Moses Kuria spoke, but he never mentioned anything to do with William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza. As a matter of fact, the only reason why Moses Kuria was allowed to speak was because of the intervention by Kabogo, who pleaded with them and actually castigated Kenya Kwanza for planning to fire Moses Kuria. That's something that I want us to analyze tomorrow. And by the time of doing this video, photos of Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta meeting with the Kiambu Jubilee leaders also emerged. Again, tomorrow tutakuwa na kazi mingi sana. But for now, I want us to analyze something that happened during the day, because it's also significant political speaking. Earlier today, Professor Makau Mutua, who was Raila Odinga, I don't know whether he still is, Raila Odinga's spokesperson during the campaign, made some interesting tweets. Let me read for you that tweet, because that tweet is going to form the basis of this analysis. Let me just get you Makau Mutua. Now, this is what Professor Makau Mutua posted, that Azimio isn't a forced marriage. Please leave if you can't support the NADCO report, which is the product of the party's agreed democratic process. Anybody who understands the politics of this country, this statement by Professor Makau Mutua was directed to Martha Karua, who is opposed to the NADCO report, directed to Jeremiah Kioni, who is opposed to the NADCO report, and therefore this message was directed to Uhuru Kenyatta, who is also opposed to that NADCO report. In fact, I want to conclude that the meeting between Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta in the evening today was probably about this NADCO report and the fallout within Azimio. So we'll do that analysis tomorrow. Then Jeremiah Kioni came and responded to Professor Makau Mutua. Kioni is the face of Uhuru Kenyatta. And for me, the response by Kioni is actually the thinking around Uhuru Kenyatta. Kioni was very clear that they are in Azimio, not by invitation, which means they deserve to be in Azimio. They deserve to be heard. Then, Professor Makau Mutua then responded to Kioni. Let me just read for you his response. Because for me, in fact, I did several videos why Raila Odinga needed to kick out this gentleman out of his circles. Because this guy, I think he overstayed outside the country to an extent that he really doesn't understand the politics of this country. And I've spoken to several people, especially those who have stayed out of the country for a long time. They're normally shocked at the way Kenyan politics is played, because it's never issue-based. This is what Professor Makau Mutua posted. I will take my brother Honorable Kioni seriously when he and his Kamwene siblings organize mandamano in the mountain. So which begs the question, assuming today or tomorrow, Raila Kioni and the group would organize Kamwene Leadership Forum demonstrations or Mandamano in the mountain, would that really be a measure of their ability in Azimio? So in this video, I want to reveal to you guys the real issues why we are seeing that exchange between Kioni, who is a close associate of Uhuru Kenyatta, and also Professor Makau Mutua, a close associate of Raila Odinga. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. Why do you think Professor Makau Mutua made that particular tweet? What was his objective? For me, I'm reading a lot of things from the exchange between Professor Makau Mutua and Raila Kioni. The first thing is that Raila Odinga has a position on the NADCO report. That's what I'm getting from the tweet by Professor Makau Mutua. And just like I keep on telling you, that this bipartisan talks was engineered by people beyond Raila, people beyond Ruto. And that's why Ruto is supporting this document. And that's why Raila is supporting this document. Martha Karua is probably opposed to this document for two main reasons. I think she has read the mood on the ground, that majority of Azimio supporters really don't take that report seriously. And number two, he wants to use it to exit Azimio. That's my thinking. In fact, if you ask me, and I think I did analysis about that, when Uhuru Kenyatta met with the British High Commissioner to Kenya and the American ambassador last week, I remember telling you guys that probably those guys went to meet with Uhuru Kenyatta over this NADCO report, because it was alleged that Uhuru Kenyatta was the face or was the individual sabotaging the acceptance in Azimio. So I want to assume that Professor Makau Mutua was addressing Uhuru and Martha Karua that for this report, Raila's position is that he's going to support it. That's number one. Number two, if you've been following the politics of this country, when Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance called for the demonstrations, the government of Kenya tried so hard to confine those demonstrations to sections of Nyanza. In fact, Kisumu, Kondele, Kibra, Mathare. Even Homa Bay, they wanted to exclude. Then as Mandamano progressed, people started coming out. Migori took control. Homa Bay participated. Kisii took number one. Busia. And they were shocked. But the mountain never demonstrated. So when the bipartisan talks began, there were silent murmurs within Azimio that Raila Odinga should not call for Mandamano again, unless other regions were also, not other regions, unless the mountain were also going to be part and parcel of the demonstrations, because you'd see Raila Kioni, Martha Karua addressing the media, but in real sense, demonstrations were never happening in those regions. I want you guys to listen to Gaucho, the ghetto president. He delivered some statement. And I believe that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. There is no way Gaucho can just come out from nowhere and deliver that kind of a statement targeting Martha Karua. He must have been under instruction.
Okay, vile mnajua ni ghetto president, mwanasoja wa Raila Odinga, Gaucho. Iko kitu nataka kurespond leo kwa mama wetu Martha Karua wana Kenya, ambayo ni moja wa wanaazimio. Niliona jana mama wetu Martha Karua akiongea kizungu nyingi, after kumaliza kizungu zake nyingi, akathreaten ya kwamba yeye hiyo report anashuku, hiyo report ijaongelelea cost of living, ijaongelelea mambo ya mafuta, ijaongelea mambo mingi. Mimi naambia mama wetu Martha Karua, sisi na supporters wa Raila Odinga, sisi tunakubali na tunakukubalia. Ukiona kitu ijakufurahisha, toa supporters wana Kenya wakuje kwa barabara, kwa sababu huyu Raila watu wamemchukua ufala, watu wanachukuanga advantage na supporters wake. Unaona, juzi hapa tumekuwa kwa maandamano, watu wetu wengi wameumia, wengine wakaumizwa. Saa hii Raila Odinga walikubali kwenda kwa partisan ambayo inaongozwa na Kalonzo Musyoka, ambayo Kalonzo, ukiangalia record ya Kalonzo, ni mtu amefanya peacemaking mingi. Kalonzo alikuwa Sudan, yeye ndiye ameleta umoja Sudan. Sasa talks hapa Kenya huwezi shinda Kalonzo Musyoka. Inamaanisha unajaribu kusema ya kwamba Kalonzo Musyoka alipelekwa hapo na fai ama juu kitu alikuwa nafaa discuss. Wewe ndio unajua na hiyo timu yenyu ya Kamene. Mimi nataka niambie Martha Karua hii mambo rahisi. Martha, sisi hatuwezi kataa usiende maandamano, but mimi nataka kusema huyu Raila Odinga watu wamemchukua ujinga in 2000.
Number 3, I'm also getting convinced that there is a wider scheme to create a Mount Kenya presidential candidate for 2027. And that presidential candidate is going to be supported by Uhuru Kenyatta. And the only way to create that candidate is by creating friction within Azimio. Then Raila Odinga and that leader are going to part ways. And because there has always been anti-Raila Odinga campaigns in the mountain, then it can be used to rally the mountain against Raila Odinga's candidate, who will then be Kalonzo, or even if it's Raila Odinga. Then during the election, those Mount Kenya will vote for their candidate. Remember, Kenya Kwanza is losing ground very fast. So Mount Kenya will vote for their candidate. And the idea is basically to lock William Ruto out of the mountain. So let us wait and see how all this thing is going to turn out. Because in politics, anything is possible. So maybe they want to create a presidential candidate, a Mount Kenya presidential candidate. Can only be done by rallying the mountain against Raila. Because as we speak, Azimio Kioni has always stated this severally, that there's mass exodus from UDA party in the mountain. But they're not joining Azimio. So the question is, where are they going? It means they're hanging somewhere. And that's why it would be important to have a wedge between Raila and the alleged leader from the mountain, so that those people who are hanging somewhere can then find a place they call home. Hiyo ni siasa kali sana. Number 4, the 2027 politics. The question is Raila Odinga going to run? If Raila Odinga is going to run, who is going to be his running mate? Probably he might not want to have Martha Karua as a running mate. So which means Martha Karua as at now must give way. Assuming Raila Odinga were to support Kalonzo Musyoka, who would be the running mate? Someone from the mountain or someone from the Luhya nation? The general consensus in Azimio is that a Kalonzo presidential candidate needs a Luhya running mate. But Karua is insisting that she must be a presidential candidate. For that matter, if not, someone from the mountain to be the deputy. In short, they want to deal with the fallout this early. And lastly, I'm also convinced that it has everything to do with the NADCO report politics. One of the proposals in the NADCO report is that a position of the official opposition leader is going to be created. I think with the 2 deputies. So who's going to take that position? Is it Raila? Is it Kalonzo? Is it Martha Karua? Who's going to be the deputy? Because Karua doesn't have numbers in parliament. The Jubilee numbers have gone the other side. I don't know what to think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lima. By the way, tomorrow, tutakuwa na kazi mingi sana. The Ruto incident and Raila Uhuru meeting. What are they trying to resolve? Bye-bye.